Hey guys, happy Friday. Hope everybody's doing as well as you possibly can. Actually, I have kind of a story, and then I definitely... Oh! JMSO just posted a video, and I just started with this one, so I will go watch his later. I love that fucking guy. So I was thinking of talking about something else, and I definitely will get to it, but I wanted to tell you that this trucker convoy has given a lot of people strength. It's given, I'm honking. It's given people the, I don't know why people need that. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I am just really, really glad that I never wore a mask except at Costco. And I fucking pass out like every time I'm there. I walk around cold with it out. And, so I can breathe, because otherwise I can't breathe. I don't know how people can wear it. I literally start sweating and shaking and vibrating, and I can't wear it. And I walk around with it pulled way out the whole time, the entire time. And by the time I get out of there, I feel like I have a fucking worse headache, and my head hurts, and my eyes hurt, and I can't breathe, and I feel like shit. And I'm embarrassed by my behavior. But so anyhow, the truckers seem to have provided with a lot of people more courage to do what they know. They knew the whole time it was not right to wear a mask. Anyhow, I went to Superstore last night and they had nothing. Their shelves were bare. Unless it was in a package, I couldn't get it basically. I got the last package of red onions, and like 2 of the package was already rotten. I got 1 package of carrots and like a couple things like that, and lemons. But other than that, like, I'm having a birthday party this weekend, and I need, like, there was no cucumbers, which is my kid's favorite thing, and there was no like things like that. No bananas. They have like 2 packages of bananas there, and they were rotten. And you know what? It fucking sucks, because I am trying to plan this little birthday party. But at the same time, if this is what we have to do to support the truckers and to say no, what else can you say, right? No, I'm not going to live like this. I'm not going to do this. It's a small price to pay. And at this point, most of us should have known that this was coming. So if you didn't know that this was coming, especially the people who know me, if you know me and you didn't know this was coming, it's because you are not paying attention to any of the things that I sent to you over the past couple years. You were not listening to anything I say, and so I can't help you. I can't feel sorry for you, because you can't say that you didn't know that this was coming. And I will make other arrangements to make sure that there's food and stuff at this party, because of course I am a little bit prepared, because I do listen to myself. Anyhow, I was wanting to start this with a positive note, so I went into Superstore last night to get a bunch of crap for this party, and I walked in, and as soon as I walked in, I saw this man standing in the aisle that I was going up with 2 people. I didn't pay attention. I just saw him first, and he had no mask on, and so I went over and I said, "Nice face," because I love faces. They're so lovely. Smiles are wonderful, and I love them so much. And he said, "Oh my God, nice face." And then I noticed that one of the women that he was standing with didn't have a mask on. So we started talking. And then the other woman, who was wearing a mask, took hers off right there in the store. And it was so beautiful. And we stood there talking, like not social distancing, for I don't know how long, probably like a solid 2 or 3 minutes at least, which doesn't really sound like much, but you're standing in a grocery store trying to get crap for, you're on a thing you want to do. It's a long time. So anyhow, as we were standing there talking, this other lady from way at the end of the store, way back there, and if you know me at all, I cry. I do. I can't help it. I cry all the time. And I just ignore it, right? It comes and I keep talking, and then it goes, and it's fine. And all my people know that about me. This lady, I could see her catch my eye from way at the end of the store, and I started crying because I knew that she was coming over. And she was way at the end of the store with no mask on. And she came right over, and I don't even know her at all. But she hugged me, like we made eye contact, she hugged me, we had a little quick chat. There was 5 of us standing right there in the store with no masks on, and I shouldn't be. This is a fucking, who cares? You're walking around with no mask on. This should be, what are you doing? Why are you walking around with a mask on? It shouldn't be such a situation that I have to cry when I see 4 other people at the grocery store without a mask on, because I go in there and I don't wear one because my integrity and my breathing and all that shit, I can't do it physically, and I fucking don't want to, and I'm not going to. But that doesn't mean that I walk in there like king shit at Turd Island, because I'm not that confident. So a lot of times when I go, I tell my kid, like, you cannot run around, you need to stay at my cart. And I don't fuck around. I go in there, and there are other times I go in and I'm like, fuck this shit. You guys are the stupid idiots for walking around with masks on. But there are other times when I'm genuinely nervous and I don't want a confrontation, but I'm not going to wear a mask just to avoid a confrontation. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And if you can't get out of your comfort zone to do what you think is right, then I don't know what to say to you. That should be embarrassing as an adult. If you can't step outside of where you're comfortable to stand up for something that you believe in, that you privately in the basement of your home can believe in, that's shitty, and I think you should feel ashamed. So instead of feeling ashamed, because I don't want to feel like that, it's gross, I either suck it up and I generally will I usually am wearing my sunglasses anyway, and usually a hat, and I should have had one today. It's raining out. It's such a headache, but I can't do it. So anyhow, it was this wonderful moment where 5 people who didn't know each other got all together, and I only hugged the one lady, but her, I don't know, our energies, for some reason, our eyes met, and she just hugged me, and it was so wonderful to watch her come down the aisle, and that sounded really weird. Let's see how long it takes for them to tell everybody I'm gay and married. Anyhow, I wanted to start out with that. And so I'm happy. Oh, and then I was still walking around, and I came around this corner, and a lady with a mask on looked at me and said, "You're not wearing a mask." And I was like, I was shocked. I didn't know what was going to happen next. And I had just come off this big high from seeing all these other people. And she's like, "Good for you for not wearing a mask." She said, "I want to take mine off, but I'm scared. And I'm scared of what people are going to say and blah, 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 blah." And I was like, again, crying. And I said, you know what? And I just said that to her. It's hard, and I feel sick a lot of the time. And I do this shit when I don't have my kid with me, because then I'm a different, you attack me when I am by myself, it's one thing, but when you attack me and I have my kid with me, it's a different situation. So I don't like it. And so I try to avoid that. But anyhow, we stood there and had a talk, and I was praying the whole time that she would just take her mask off. I'm like, you don't have to wear that. Anyway, we had this chat, and she was like, "I'm proud of you and good for you, and I'm trying to get there." And like, that should tell us how far we've fallen. Anyhow, it was an awesome thing. I cried for like an hour. It was funny because I went back to the class where I had been, and everybody was like, "Are you okay?" But people who know me, I was smiling, so they were like, "Oh, here she goes again." So I told them all what happened, and I shared the love, and everybody felt good, and it was really good, and I was pretty happy with that. On a totally different note, I keep saying this, and then I remember the point I was making about the truckers. Regardless of what they say the basic basis of this trucker movement is, and even let's say that it is maybe shady characters who started it. I don't think it was, but let's just say that it is. What ended up happening is that a bunch of authentic people who needed a voice are feeling strong enough to use their own voice now. Oh. Maybe she just hit her thing. So anyhow, I thought that was pretty cool. On a totally different note, completely different altogether, I was having a conversation the other day with somebody, and they were telling me about this book they were reading, and I talk a lot. So like if you're telling me something, I tend to interject and ask questions. But people don't seem to like that. They seem to want you to just sit there. But I guess I do end up getting off topic, as you know. So maybe I shouldn't do that as much. But anyhow, this person was telling me about this book they were reading, and it had some, I forget who, I think they said it was a Scottish writer, but don't quote me on that, I forget. And how this writer was posing moralistic type questions. And for example, and I may get this completely wrong, it was just thought-provoking, and I thought I would just share it and put it out there. This person was asking, if you were to go to a garage sale of, say, an old couple, and they had something for sale that was way less money than you knew it was worth, would you tell them? Would you say, just, so this is worth a lot more money? And would it make a difference? Would your answer be different if the person who was selling something for way below value was a homeless person or a drunk person or somebody who you just knew or thought you knew was going to not spend the money on something good? And immediately it struck me about our housing market, because one of my friends, God love her, I don't know why, she wants to move from the small town she's in to the city. We obviously agreed to disagree about that, but she wants to do what she wants to do, and that's perfectly fine. Do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy, that doesn't hurt anybody else. So when this person said that to me about in my head, it was, what if you found an expensive painting somewhere and somebody didn't know what they had? That's what in my head my example was. And I thought, regarding the housing market, you don't have to, if you buy a house, like the argument of the other person, when I said that, I'm like, so that would, to me, that just clicked in my head. As soon as they said about this dilemma and would it change, the housing situation popped into my head, because my friend who wants to move into the city can't. They bought their house for, I don't know, let's say $180,000, and it's now worth about $500,000. And this person is a lovely person, and they know, they and I bitch all the time. She and I bitch all the time about the housing market. She lives in an area where the city is expensive, and I don't, which is fine, but I love real estate and I watch it. Whether I'm in the market or not, I just like to keep my eye on real estate. And where I live in Nova Scotia, people are selling houses. I couldn't afford to buy my own house right now. So this friend of mine is having a really hard time with moving. She could get $300,000 more than she paid for her house. And of course she's lived there a while, so she's paid down her mortgage. So of course there's some room there. And so, but for her to buy in the city, even in the shitty parts of town, she's looking at a solid $400,000, and that's if she could find it. I don't even think you could get a place there for $400,000 now, and if you did, it would need at least $200,000 worth of work, which is ridiculous. And so that was my example in my head when I had this comparison, was if this person, my friend, sold her house, we bitch about the fact of the housing market and what's going on with the housing market. At least what I see here in Nova Scotia is that people are selling their houses from somewhere in the United States or Vancouver, Calgary, or Ontario. And I see so many Ontario plates, it's not even funny. But usually this is what happens. And they bought their houses whenever they bought them, and they sold them for a shit ton of money. And when they bring that money to Nova Scotia, they can buy anything they fucking want. 2 years ago, I was looking at real estate, and you could buy your entire island with a gigantic mansion with 3 wine cellars and everything with a boat to get you to and from the fucking island for $500,000. Now for $500,000, it's just, no. You can get a lot less now for $500,000. Even last year, I was looking at just land, and you could buy between 5 and 20 acres, and sometimes more, sometimes more, or I mean a little less, but it would have a well and power for like, I don't know, 30 grand tops. If you were looking at $50,000-$60,000, you were getting a really nice big piece of property, probably with some view. And now you can't even find it, never mind afford it if you do find it. It's unbelievable. So the people are coming from other provinces, and our people who live here and were born here and who are making wages based on Nova Scotia, they can't afford to buy a house in their province. And I understand that. I lived in Vancouver. I also lived in Calgary, and I moved out of Calgary because I was a mortgage broker and I couldn't afford to have my own house. And so I felt like shit, and I was like, fuck this shit, I'm moving. So I moved to Saskatchewan. I had a premonition before moving to Saskatchewan was even a thing. I went online, I bought a house. I bought a 6-bedroom house on a double lot with a double garage for $79,000 in a small town. And everybody who lived in that town told me I paid way too much. And I was like, coming from Calgary, I paid too much. I didn't own a house in Calgary, so I had to have a mortgage, of course. But at least I was able to get into the market. And so then when I sold my house, of course, it was worth more. And I was moving to Halifax, which was a city, whereas before I was out in a town. So I was going to have to pay more for my mortgage than I would have. Anyhow, so I understand the market, and I know how friggin' hard it is to get into the market. I had to borrow money from my down payment from my mom. Like, it's not, when you're trying to pay rent and trying to save up for a mortgage at the same time, it's really hard. And now it's basically impossible. Like the job that you have to support a mortgage around here now, you're going to need like close to $70,000 a year to be able to afford a house in fucking Bridgewater. What the hell is going on? And so anyhow, I was talking to this person, and I said, it's the same thing with the housing market. If I could sell my house right now for a whole lot more than I bought it for. But the reason I can do that is because we have an outside influence from other places. And if I do that, I might make some money on my house, but then of course I have to buy another house. But by my selling that house for so much more than I should be able to get for it, I am effectively driving the market by making it so young people can't afford a house, right? My friend who's got a house that she doesn't have it for sale, but if somebody came to her and asked her, she would sell it, I'm sure. She could sell that house for, let's say, $250,000 instead of $500,000. And if everybody who was selling a house was doing that kind of thing, then the market wouldn't go as it is. She's got a friend who's a young couple, and they want to have kids, and they both work full time, and they still can't get into the housing market in that city. And she's like, if I didn't have to make sure that I could still buy another house, I would sell this house to them. It would make it so that our local people have a place to live and can buy a house in their own town. But she can't, even moralistically, as much as she knows, and I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? Who wouldn't want to be able to help somebody from your own town? If your friend who came from the town you grew up in wanted to get into the housing market, and you could help them do that, why would you not want to do that? Even somebody you don't know, it doesn't matter. They tell you they're from here, right? They want to have a family. They at least want to be able to buy their own home. Why wouldn't you want to have your part in helping maintain a good economy in your area? But you can't. Even if you want to, you would need an entire community of people who refused to overprice their houses and sell them to out-of-towners. And I'm not trying to be racist or misogynistic or heightist or sizist or whatever kind of ist you want to say that I am for saying this. But why would we not want to moralistically be able to keep our town full of people from our town? So anyhow, I don't know why I went off on that rant. I was talking to myself in the car, and it sounded like a decent thing to talk about it. And I'm not saying either way is right or either wrong, or one is better, one is... I guess, in my opinion, one is better, but I'm sure there are reasonable arguments for the other side as well. But as far as moralistically, doesn't it make sense to help young people from your community buy a house in their own community so that they don't have to move away? Anyhow, the person that put past this scenario to me said it was totally two different things, and I disagree. I think it's exactly the same thing, and I have had a few other people tell me that they think it's the same thing, so I was just curious if you think it's the same thing. If a man, woman, whatever, old people, nice grandma, grandpa, were having a garage sale, let's say, and they were trying to, they had a Picasso and they didn't know what it was worth and they were selling it for $50, would you tell them? And if you would, do you think it's the same thing as at least wanting to or wishing that you could sell your house, if it were for sale, to a local family to keep your people and your population local? I was just putting it out there. Sorry if I wasted 21 minutes of your time. It's got nothing to do with Portapique or really the nonsense with these people walking around with face diapers or any of this stuff. It's got nothing to do with any of that. But I just thought I would put it out there. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Still, it is time. It's past the time to get off grid, grow your own food, arm yourselves, and make friends with like-minded people, because this is the only way that we're going to get through this. Look at this convoy. For y'all who are supporting the convoy, this is a group of like-minded people coming together. Like-minded people. I found a community of like-minded people, and I would have never gotten through this without them. Even though I am still a part of this brand new friends community and so many wonderful people, I still feel lonely and I still feel oppressed and trapped and so on and so forth. And I don't even have a job that I have to worry about getting fired from. So I can only, like the lady I met in the superstore yesterday, I can only imagine how lonely she feels. She said she's lost her family. They don't talk to her. And she still wears a mask and they don't talk to her because she simply doesn't agree with it. So she's doing it anyway, even though she doesn't agree with it, to make them feel safer and better, and still they don't talk to her? What is going on? What is going on? I remember being sick at home at my parents' house, and I was sick and puking, and my mom brought me fucking food. She wasn't like, stay away from me, I'm gonna close your door and self-isolate. No, that's not what you do, right? You bring the guys soup, you make sure they have tea, you fucking leave them alone so they can sleep. You get over it. You don't stop talking to people because what if I was sick and I had like cancer, and you would be like, well, I don't smoke, but if I did, I got throat cancer, let's say. Does your family say, well, that's your fault for smoking all your life? What the fuck? I don't get it. So just be nice to everybody. If you see somebody who needs help, they dropped something, help them pick it up. If you can return a shopping cart for somebody so they don't have to take it back, do that. If whatever. If somebody fucking drops a $20 bill out of their pocket on the floor and they don't know, pick it up and give it back to them. Like, open the door for people behind you. Don't fucking open it enough for yourself to go through. Like, be kind to other people. Their own motto of be kind, they don't do it. People are miserable, they're horrified, and they're scared, and they're alone. And all of those things are going to cause everyone to get sick. So take care of people. Like, please, take care of each other. I can't tell you the energy that came back with me to where I was after I left the superstore. I had such good energy that everybody else left there feeling good. And that's just how energy works. If you bring the good and the love and the positivity, that's what you're going to get back. But you can't lie, and you have to be honest, and you have to tell the truth, and you have to search for the truth, and you can't just tell other people. Like, if you support that convoy and you are still wearing a mask, you're a hypocrite, right? Because if you had put down the mask at the beginning and said, I'm not doing this, we wouldn't need a convoy. We wouldn't need a convoy. If everybody said no, everybody at least who didn't believe in this crap was like, I'm not doing that. No. We'd be over. Have it over. It would be fucking over. I'm sitting in the parking lot of Walmart and it's pouring out rain. And every single person, except for that guy who's walking by my car, is still wearing their mask. He's taken his off, it looks like, but everybody else is out in the parking lot still wearing a mask. They don't even bother to take it off anymore. So even if they reduced all the mask mandates, I think you're still going to get shit from people when you go out. But you know what? Oh well. Tell them to mind their own business. That's none of their business. If you don't agree with wearing a mask, and you shouldn't because you're not a dog that bites. Dogs don't need muzzles unless they bite. Take your fucking mask off. Grow a pair. Don't litter. Put it in the garbage. Put it in the garbage. Anyhow, sorry I carried on ranting. You know how I do. God love you guys. God bless you. Take care. Don't stop digging into Portapique because holy fuck. I can't even tell you. So just don't stop digging. God bless everyone who did and is digging. And go subscribe to Seamus's channel if you haven't been there and you haven't caught up and you don't know what's going on. God bless you all. Take care of each other. We'll see you soon. Bye.